So welcome to my next video. So in this video we will see about how to find measure the time complexity using count method, also known as line count method. So in the line count method, the complexity of program is measured by using the number of lines, or it means the number of operations that need to be executed to complete that program, as well as the frequency of each operations that need to be executed to complete the entire program. That means for each line, so we need to measure the time needed to compute or execute that line. So and then for each line, we need to measure the number of times it need to be executed to complete that particular program. So to explain this, I use one simple program to find the maximum value in an integer array. So this maximum is the function name. It takes two arguments, one integer array a and n is the size of that array. So in the function, first I declare one variable max, and max is assigned with the first value in the array a. So and then that for loop, the for loop will be executed from the index 1 to the index n minus 1, and each iteration, the value that is stored in that particular index in the array is compared with that current max value, and if that array value is greater than the current max value, then max value is updated, and finally the value of that max variable is returned. So I already told you to measure the time complexity using this count method. So for each operation or for each line in that program, we need to measure the time taken to execute that particular operation. And for each operation or for each line, we need to measure the number of times it need to be executed. So for example, in this program, so in this program contains five line of code. So the first one is in declaration, second one is the for loop, and third one is the conditional statement, and fourth one is assignment statement, and fifth one is return statement. So for each line, we need to measure the time needed to compute that particular line or particular operation, and then the number of occurrence of that particular operation of particular line. So for line one, uh, so this is, since this is a simple assignment statement, that time needed to complete that particular operation is a unit time. So we can take it as k, and then occurrence of that particular statement, it will be executed for only one time. So this is 1. So totally the time, the total amount of time it will be executed is 1 into k, so that is k. And for second line, so since this is a for loop, so this for loop, though it is written as a single statement, but the for loop contains three operations. First one is assignment operation, conditional operation, and increment operation. So assignment operation, that operation will be executed for only one time. So that so the number of that means the number of occurrence is 1, and since this is assignment operation, this takes unit time k. So k and 1, so this is also k. This is for assignment operation. So and then for conditional operation, so for n, if so it will be executed until the I value 1 to n minus 1. So if I value is, for example, if n value is 5, means it will be executed for 1, 2, 3, 4, and then for I value 5 also it will be executed. So because this condition will be repeated until that becomes false. So when I equal to 1, you suppose if n equal to 5 means when I equal to 1, this condition true. When I equal to 2, this condition true. When I equal to 3, that condition true. When I equal to 4, that condition true. So 4 times that condition will becomes true. So next iteration also it will go. So in the next iteration, I value will become 5. So that time only that particular condition will be failed. So this conditional statement for n value. So the conditional statement will be executed for n time. So the number of occurrence is n, and each time it takes a unit times k. So number of occurrence is n, so total it will be n k. So and then that increment operation, so the increment operation will be executed when that from I equal to 1 to that particular condition I less than is n is true. For example, if n equal to 5, so when I equal to 1, that condition true, so I plus plus will be executed. Now I value becomes 2. So when I equal to 2, that condition true, so I plus plus executed second time. And then I equal to 3, the condition true, so I plus plus executed for third time. So when I equal to 4, so the condition true, so I plus plus will be executed for fourth time. When I equal to 5, the condition false, so the I plus plus will not be executed. So if n equal to 5, it will be executed for 4. So in general, it will be executed for n minus 1 time. So for each time, it takes unit time k, and then the number of occurrences n minus 1. So the total time is n minus 1 into k. So so the total time needed for completing that second line is, so k plus nk plus n minus 1 k. So we can, in general, we can take it as nk. Okay. So the line, the time needed to complete that particular second statement for statement is nk. So for the second line, the time needed is nk. And the third statement, so this is a simple conditional statement. So the number of that means the time needed to compute that particular statement is unit time. We can take it as k. So and then now we need to execute how many times it will be executed. So this statement will be executed until this condition I less than n is true. So once it becomes false, it will, that condition will not be executed. So when I equal to 1, it will be executed. And when I equal to 2, it will be executed. When I equal to 3, it will be executed. When I equal to 4, it will be executed. So when I becomes 5, it will not be executed. So if the value of n is 5, this statement will be executed for 4 times. So in general, that length, that size of array is n means, so that particular statement will be executed for n minus 1 time. So the time taken for this is n minus 1 into k. So you can take it as this. So time needed is n minus 1 into k. So fourth line also same. That line will be executed if the third line is true. So it is we cannot able to estimate how many times it will be executed because it depends on the condition a of I is greater than max. So in the in the best case, if the first element of that array is a maximum element. So if the first element of the array is 10, and then the array contains element like this 4, 1, 2, 5. So the max value will be initially assigned with 5. When I equal to 1, it will compare with 4. So 4 is not less greater than 10. So that max, that assignment fourth line will not be executed. The next 1, a of 2 is 1. So that time 1 is not greater than 10. So that fourth statement will not be executed. And then next time a of I equal to 2. So 2 is not greater than 10. That time also the fourth line will not be executed. and finally a of 4 equal to 5 and 5 is not greater than 10, so that time also that max will not be executed. So this time that particular line 4 will not be executed for a single time. So in the same way, if suppose the array is like this, so first element is 1, that means the first element is the minimum element, and suppose the line is like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So initially the max value will be 1 and the next iteration 2 is greater than 1. Now max will become 2. The next iteration 3 will be compared with 2. So 3 is greater than 2. So again this condition true, then fourth line will be executed. And now max value is 3. Next time 4 will compare with max value. 4 is greater than 3. So this time also it will be true. So again that max equal to a5, that fourth line will be executed. And finally a of 5 will become 5, so 5 is also greater than 4, so again that fourth line will be executed. So this time that fourth line will be executed for 4 times. So that means n minus 1 time. So this line of code fourth will be executed based on the result of the conditional statement in line 3. So in best case, it won't never executed. In worst case, it also executed for n minus 1 time. So we can take that worst case scenario. So in the worst case, it has to execute it for n minus 1 time, and each time it takes unit time. So k into n minus 1, so same n minus 1 into k. So now to calculate the time complexity, the time needed to complete this particular program, we need to sum all the all the time taken. That means we need to sum the time taken by all the line in all the operations in the program. So here the sum will be so the first line is k plus, and next line is nk, and third line is n minus 1 k, and fourth line is also n minus 1k, and so fifth line, so this is the return statement, it will be executed for only one time. So this is outside the for loop, so it is a simple statement, it will be executed for only one time, so it takes k. So totally it will be like this. So when you solve this, it will give you some 3n into k plus 2k minus 2k minus 2. So this is the total time needed. So 3nk plus 2k minus 2. So since k is unit time, so in general, if you so you can write, so you can derive that, so you can derive the time complexity, so like this. So the it can be represented in the big O notation, like this, O of n. So it contains only that n is that maximum value in this particular equation. So we can use this as O of n. O of n, or in general we can take it as order of n. So this is the way we need to calculate the time complexity of a program using line count method. So we will take another example. So this is a function sum which takes two-dimensional integer arrays a and b. So in this function, we just calculate the sum of these two-dimensional arrays. So and then is stored in another two-dimensional array C. So here the first line in this function, so it is a declaration statement, so it will be executed for only one time, since it is not inside any kind of loop statements or conditional statements. So the entire program, it will be executed for only one time, so it takes a constant time k and executed for one time. So totally the time taken for this particular function is k. And second one, this is actually a outer for loop. So in the outer for loop, so the conditional so initialization statement will be executed for only one time. So and then the outer for loop, the conditional statement I less than one. So as in the previous example, this statement will also be executed for n times. So and then that increment statement will be executed for n minus one time. So totally it will execute for n into k times. So and then this inner for loop. So this inner for loop, this assignment statement, how many times actually the assignment statement will be executed? It's actually not a single time. It will be executed for n time. So when the outer for loop value I equal to 0, so that time this assignment statement j will be assigned with 0. So and then when the outer for loop I equal to 1, that time also it will be assigned. And when the outer for loop I equal to 2, that time also this inner for loop j will be assigned with 0. So how many times that outer for loop? At maximum the outer for loop will be so executed for n minus 1 time. That means until the condition becomes true, until the condition is true. So n minus 1 time the outer for loop will be executed. So each time the outer for loop is true, then the assignment statement j equal to 0 will be executed. So the assignment statement will be executed for n minus 1 time. So and then the inside that for loop, that conditional statement. So as usual, the outer statement, outer for loop, that conditional statement will be executed for n time. So each time the outer for loop is true. So outer for loop will be executed for n time, and each time, each iteration of that outer for loop in the inner for loop, that particular condition j minus j less than n, that condition will be executed for n time. For example, when I equal to 0 in the outer for loop, so this inner for loop j less than n will be executed for n time. When I equal to 1 in the outer for loop, so that time the inner for loop j less than n will be executed for n time. So that outer for loop will be executed for n time. So each time in the inner for loop, the j less than n will be executed for n time. So in total, it will be executed for n square time, and each time it takes k time, constant unit time. So and then that I plus plus, the same way the I plus plus will be executed, outer for loop will be executed for n minus 1 time, and each time the outer for loop is executed, this inner for loop I plus plus will be executed for n minus 1 time. So totally n minus 1 into n minus 1, so we can take it as n squared. So and then for each time it takes k unit time, so it is n squared k. So in general, this time complexity of this statement 3 can be taken as n squared k. And in the fourth line, so this fourth line will be executed, so how many times this condition j less than n is executed? So each time the j less than n, that is true. So how many times that j less than n will be executed? So that same much time this line 4 will be executed. So this line 4 will be executed or not, it depends on that condition j less than n. So how many times the j less than n executed, the same amount of time this line 4 will not also be executed. So j less than n will be executed for n minus n squared time. So it also will be executed for n squared time, and each time it takes k constant unit time, so it is n squared k. And finally the return statement, so this is a constant, says it will be executed for only one time, and this takes constant time, so it is k. So when you compute that total time needed for this particular function, it is so k plus n k plus n squared k plus n squared k plus k. So this is actually this is equal to, so this is equal to 2n squared plus 2n squared k plus nk plus 3k. So that is it is very simple. This will be, this is equal to 2n squared k plus nk plus 2k. So in Bitcoin notation, it can be written as O of n square. So this is O of n square. So in the same way, for any kind of program, we can able to find the time complexity of a particular program using line count method. Thank you.